Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to CUHK and welcome to the Department of English Admissions Talk or Academic Counseling. So I hope it's been a productive day for everyone. And it's my pleasure and job today to give you a bit of information about our department, hopefully highlight some of what is distinctive about it in Hong Kong. And after I presented for about 15 or 20 minutes or so, I'll invite two of our students, current students, to talk about their experience in our department. Okay, so my name is Professor Joanna Mansbridge, and I am the convener of the Undergraduate Admissions Committee here in our department. So the first question might be, you might have other questions, but your first question here might be, why study English? And then, of course, why study English at CUHK? So I know you're all at particular points in your life where you have a lot of possibilities in front of you and a lot of choices to make. And so I hope that some of what I share today will help clarify your choices. And so I want to begin by trying to answer that question by pointing out our recent ranking in the world university ranking. So we did rank 51st out of 51st in the world in departments in English language and literature. So we're quite proud of that. But our department is full of dedicated faculty and equally dedicated students. And one of the first things that comes to mind when I think of our department, as opposed to other departments here and elsewhere, is we have a very congenial, supportive environment. So there's a very good rapport between the faculty and students and amongst the students. The students have a very strong sense of belonging and identity in our department. So I'll say a bit more about that in a minute. We have four main areas in terms of the study of English. So one of the big transitions, I think, for students from high school to university is we don't focus on English proficiency in our department and in university generally. So we don't talk about English use or memorizing vocabulary. But all of those things naturally do come when you're studying with us. But we treat English as a language, but also as a culture, as cultures, many cultures, and as a history. So all of our approaches to studying English have to do with English as a very living, evolving entity. So we have four main areas: communications. Students begin by taking two required foundational communications courses, and that prepares them for writing and communicating orally in English, academic English in particular, which is nobody's first language. It also gives them skills like writing emails, writing CVs, performing in a job interview. So they're really, really practical skills in that course, those courses. Then we have our three main areas of, research or academic study, and that's applied English linguistics, English literary studies, and creative writing. So creative writing is a relatively new area in our department. We've always had a creative writing course, and we have a creative writer on staff who's been here for years, decades. But we've recently expanded that, and students can declare creative writing on their transcripts. So we have more courses, more specialized courses in creative writing. And all of these, so students, we have a lot of flexibility in our department in terms of what students want to focus on. You know, if they really are interested in applied linguistics, they can take courses they have to take one intro to literature course, but you can focus just on linguistics, or if you prefer literature or creative writing, you can really focus on those. Or you can go for a very broad-based, balanced exposure to all the sides of English by taking courses in each of those areas. So we do something that we made changes to our curriculum several years ago to make it much more flexible for students to really choose their own pathway. So we do have complementary approaches to the study of English. We have those various streams, and they all complement each other. Even if you're going back and forth you'll see connections between your linguistics courses and your literature courses. Often poems or social media posts are used in linguistics courses, and your study of literature is enhanced by an understanding of language from the perspective of linguistics. And you also learn about the histories and culture in which English is embedded. So we don't speak of English in our department. We think of it as Englishes. So there's multiple Englishes, including Hong Kong English. So English is, as I said, an evolving entity. It's not a fixed system that you sort of memorize and then you know it. It's constantly changing, depend on who's using it, the environments they're using it in. And so Hong Kong has a very creative use of English, and it's that too is also continually changing. So you'll see we have a course in Hong Kong English. So you get to see sort of the history of how that's developed in different genres, so literature as well as music and everyday conversation. Okay, so you learn about English from these different perspectives, and hopefully that will build confidence and enable you to find your voice and feel at home in the language. And so again, it's not about sort of memorizing and building vocabulary lists. It's really about honing your own voice, both your critical thinking, your academic, I guess, voice, but also your voice in English, and to make you feel at home in the language. Another thing that makes our department quite distinctive is, I think, there's a strong sense of identity and belonging, and I mentioned that already. You're designated as an English major on the first day, so that means that you take English courses at the beginning and you participate in English Society activities right from the start, and we have very lively English Society activities or English societies in our department. So as I said, the students are very, very much a kind of community, and there's a lot of events, extracurricular activities, and so there really is a strong sense of identity and belonging in our department. So just some of the skills, I guess, that you would acquire studying with us, and it's really hard to nail, the types of skills that English teaches you, because it's a language, but it's also a way it develops interpersonal skills, intrapersonal skills. So really it develops all what are called soft skills in workplaces. And these are, you can read sort of articles on this. These are skills that are really coveted by employers across a range of professions. Just knowing how to communicate with people in writing and in speech, communicating across cultures. English is obviously a global language, and so many of the businesses in Hong Kong in particular speak, across different sort of national boundaries and using English as a medium. So in the department, you'll learn to be a creative, independent, articulate thinker and communicator. So again, we really stress students as independent thinkers, not as receptacles of sort of passive receptacles of knowledge. We want them to formulate their own ideas and articulate these in writing and different kinds of oral assessments. You develop cultural literacy or an understanding of English and how it varies across different cultures and time periods. And you do this in linguistics courses, but also in literature courses. One of the things about reading literature is if you read Shakespeare, of course, that's a very different kind of English than reading a contemporary novel. So you get a sense of how English has evolved over time. And yeah, again, sort of seeing it as an organic system. You also gain an understanding of and an open-mindedness to other perspectives. So the perspectives of your students or your peers, but also perspectives that you read in literature. So literature is of course populated with different characters with multiple points of view, and you get to see sort of see the world from these perspectives, which is a really one of the gifts of literature, is that you really get to live 100 lives and see the world through those perspectives. And then all of these and others, you acquire skills that make you very adaptable within global workplaces. And so an English degree is a really strong degree, in particular in Hong Kong, because it's seen as covering a lot of different skill sets. So I'll talk a little bit more about the professions that our graduates go into at the end. So just to talk a little bit about the kinds of assessments that we ask our students to do. So as I said, we encourage independent thinking. So we don't tend to have exams. That's not really part of our department culture. We do have essays, of course. It's an English department, so you will write essays. You'll also do multimedia presentations. So this gives you an opportunity to demonstrate your research through multiple pathways, images, audio, as well as text. Reflective narratives, so often we'll have what are called low stakes writing exercises in class just to get through students to respond to the reading materials in more of a reflective way. And then creative writing, that's not just part of the creative writing course. We do have creative writing components in some of our literature courses as well. Dramatic performances, so my research is in drama and film, and so I teach the drama courses, and one of the assessments in that course is for students to work in groups and create, devise, write, and stage their own play. And so it's quite a learning experience, actually, because a lot goes into staging a play. And then students have the opportunity to do a final year capstone project, and that's a credit-bearing course, and it is the time where students really can just choose a topic that is of interest to them. They can write a creative writing topic or a traditional research paper, but it's really up to them to come up with a topic. So it allows them to choose something that they're genuinely interested in and passionate about, and then they're assigned to a faculty advisor, and they work with that advisor and develop that into a finished paper over the course of one semester. So those become really important, especially for students who are planning to go to graduate school. So all graduate schools ask for a writing sample and of about this length, the capstone length. And so students have a writing sample ready to send if they are going to apply to graduate school. So it's a useful exercise for that. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight a few of our courses, but our students might also highlight some, so I won't spend too long. But like I said, we have a creative writing. We've always had a creative writing course, but now we have more specialized courses, and so we're really developing this aspect of our program. 19th century novels on screen. This is a popular course. You, of course, read 19th century novels, but you also look at how they've been adapted in the 20th and 21st centuries. So this raises questions of, issues relating to gender and nationhood. What are the things that are sort of historically specific to the 19th century, and what are things that need updating for a modern audience, and why do they need updating or adapting? As I already mentioned, the drama and performance course, but this is a really hands-on course where students, they do write an essay, but they also create a performance. And it's a really great course for teaching collaborative learning skills, because students have to work together to, put lighting and sound, and of course the lines, memorizing lines, blocking. It's really, there's so much work that is that goes into that, and so I think it's a really memorable process. Another popular course is this forensic linguistics, so language as evidence in legal processes. This course gives students a chance to study actual legal cases in which language is considered part of the legal evidence. And so students will study, the actual cases and look at language from the perspective of law. And so again, language varies based on, we have everyday language, but then we also have profession-specific language like law and business. And so the literary equivalent of that might be our crime fiction course. And this is a course where students read crime fiction, everything from Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie to television series. And you look at the narrative features of crime fiction, plot structures, that sort of thing, protagonists. And then you also have a chance to write your own crime fiction story. And so you learn the techniques of how to build the mystery. So if you have an interest in learning about the criminal mind, this is an interesting course to take. Language and the internet. So this is a really important area, obviously, in linguistics and literature. But so much of our communication takes place online. So, we're communicating way more than we were 20, 30 years ago. But we communicate very differently, and the way we communicate online has changed English. There's all sorts of new words that have been developed, even just, apostrophes or punctuation. It's really difficult to get students to punctuate anymore because they're not used to it, doing that in their everyday communications. So this course really looks at how the internet is changing not just English, but language. And it does question, is English still the global language in an online environment? And I guess it is to a certain extent, but it has a lot more potential, I think, online to really diversify, different other languages. And yeah. So like I said, we do have a Hong Kong English, and this takes a linguistics approach, but I believe that literature is included. And again, it's very much a historical course, looking at how English has developed in Hong Kong and the uniqueness of the language here. And then we have the language and intercultural communication, and this is especially important for students who are thinking to go into business. So a lot of businesses in Hong Kong are global, and so you'll be communicating with people in offices in all parts of the world. And there are, of course, English has a certain commonality across these contexts, but you also do be aware of the different values and, I guess, manners that are embedded in the particular cultures that people are speaking from. So this course really teaches cross-cultural fluency and English as not just a language, but a very interpersonal skill. So I'll just mention this final, it is a course. It's called the World in English Oxford Summer Program, and it's a very popular summer study exchange that our students have the opportunity to go on. So it's 2 weeks exchange. And students spend the 2 weeks at Oxford University studying with an Oxford tutor. And at the same time, they also get to tour to London and different sites around the UK, Stonehenge, go to Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Students will often go see performances in the West End. So it's very much an academic learning experience, but also a cultural learning experience. And I think many of our students take the opportunity when they are overseas to extend their stay and travel in Europe for a while and really apply their English skills in that really hands-on context. So this can be a very life-changing experience for students. It is selective. There's only a certain amount of spots available, but it's definitely something to look out for. Okay, and the last thing I'll just mention here before I talk about the job prospects very, very quickly is the Andrew Parkin Drama Cup. So this has become a real kind of cornerstone extracurricular activity in our department. It is an annual competition, drama competition, and students form groups and write their own play. It's not unlike the drama and performance course, but this is for fun and for prizes, not grades. So you don't get graded, but you do get prizes. And it's it's something that the faculty and the students really enjoy. So at the end of May every year, there's a full day set aside for the performances, and there's faculty act as the jury, and we award prizes, and it's just everybody looks forward to it. It's a great event, and the students really bond, I think, during the process. Okay, so I'll just show you the statistics from our last year's graduates, and these really vary year to year. It depends on a lot of factors, the job market, what the job market is like. But just before I show you those, I just want to say that English is, of course, different. It's not a profession, so it's not like engineering where it's a one track. You study engineering and you become an engineer. When you study English, you don't become there's no single path, but it opens many pathways. And so it really, we have students working on it really across sectors. Many do go into education. So historically, I think education has always been about a third of our students go into education. Last year and the year before, a large proportion of our students went on to do graduate work. So that is new. So there's always been a proportion of our students who go on to study MPhils and PhDs, but that's a large percent, 32%, and last year it was about 33%. So it has something to do with the job market, I think. COVID, sort of post-COVID job market. It also has something to do with the academic rigor of our department. A lot of our students are really sparked by a particular course. I didn't mention a lot of our courses. We have courses in romanticism and existentialism. So a particular course will really grab a student and they really want to, it just sort of unleashes a real curiosity that they want to pursue in graduate studies. So that's a large proportion, small proportion in government, but there's always some students who go that direction into civil service. Commerce and industry, and again, that covers a wide range of business sectors. Social and public organizations, mostly it's sort of nonprofit type work. And then also a large proportion of others. So that is often things like art and design, the creative industries. So things like, a lot of our students go into things like the social media marketers, those, again, so the ability to communicate in English across cultures, but also across media, and in both writing and spoken English. So those are all skills our students have. And so it really is valued by a lot of different companies. Yeah, so I think that's all I'll say. I think it's probably about time. I just want to open it up before I hand it over to our student sharers. I just want to ask if anyone has any questions right now at this point. Anybody? You're more than welcome at the end to approach any of us, but I'll be here, and so you can ask me then. But for right now, I'm going to introduce Johnny and Justine, who are two current students, and they'll just talk about their experience.
Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to the CUHK English info session today. And we are going to share our uni life as a student at CUHK English department. So let me first start by introducing myself. So I'm currently a year 3 English major, and I used to be the president of the English Society of the 2021 to 2022. So So today I will focus more on the English Society and the Oxford Summer Tour, and then I will hand the time to Justine to talk about her part. So for the English Society, here's some basic information that you may want to know. So every year we recruit members. So every English majors can join, and you can be the president, external vice president, any post you like. And we will also hold several annual activities. For example, trial dinners, photo day for graduating classes, and then Andrew Parkin Drama Cup, as the professor have just mentioned. And we'll also have orientation camp, and then singing contest. And then also for the CU Info Day, you see that there are some students also helping here. So we also have to in charge of the CU Info Day. So why is so special of our society is that comparing with other societies that you may have heard from your seniors or from the news, that they are very demanding, or lots of news coming from the society, they may be requiring you to do lots of demanding tasks, while we are quite relaxing, just like our department. So we are really focusing on building bonds amongst our peers instead of asking you to do some very challenging task. So there are some examples like the trial dinner, and then of course during the promotional period, the English Society have to do the CHK custom of demonstration of beat. And then also it is a video, but I can't play it now. So for the APC, it is held every year in May. And then our students will form teams to write their own script, plan their staging and blocking and then lighting. And then they also have to perform in the Saravanan Shaw Hall, which you may have been to today. So this is the rehearsal. Yeah, and there were quite a number of audiences there, and we actually it was a really fun experience, because some of us may not have tried drama before, so this is the first time for them to try drama, and then they can continue performing by taking drama and performance in their as their elective courses as an English major. So these activities provide them some chances to get in touch to the different side of English, and then also orientation camp. So we have it every year, and it is also held partly held by the English Society, but most English Society members will take part in it. And then this is the photos of this year. And yes, again, you may have heard some news about orientation camp on newspaper before, but then our camp is also very enjoyable. Yeah, so not those demanding tasks. Yeah, and then now I'll move on to the Oxford Summer Program. So me and Justine took part in the Oxford Summer Program in the previous August, and then let me talk about the scope of study. So it is divided into 3 domains: so English literature, linguistics, and current studies of the UK. So for literature part, we've read Brideshead Revisited and Babel, so 2 novels. Yes, we also went to London for the Harry Potter drama, and this is some photos that we took when we were having the city tour with the tutor there. So, so for this one, this is some photos of our literature class. So we took the literature class outdoor and sitting in the very idyllic garden. So yes, this may be some things that interest you. And we are using this classroom, so the tutor will sit here, and then we will have a small group discussions every day. So, but it kind of reminds me of how the English department offers the course Communications for English Majors. So it is also a compulsory course for all English majors. It is like equivalent to the university English for all university students. And but what is so different about the Communications for English Major is that it's also a small group discussion. So yes, the Oxford style tutorial kind of reminds me of the CHK course. So it is quite interesting. And then this is how my dorm was like. So yeah, here is the society Instagram. So if you would like to keep posted of the society, you may scan this QR code. I will pass the time to Justine.
Right. Okay. Hi, everyone. So, okay, here's me. So, hi, my name is Justine. I'm a year 4 student, and I went on an exchange to the University of Queensland last semester, and also took part in the Oxford summer course. So, here are just some pictures. Of course, when we talk about Australia, probably everyone would be, oh, kangaroos, koalas. But I think my experience in Australia is much more than just cute animals and stuff like that. So here we have a snippet of people I've met during my tour. As you can see, they're from different cultures, they speak different languages, but then the problem, well, not a problem, we would definitely experience cultural difference, right? Because we don't have the same background, but then it didn't stop us from having a good time. And one thing I've learned from the intercultural communication course is that when dealing with cultural differences, we often use the so-called framework of observe, interpret, and value. So first you have to observe why people have certain customs, and then you do some maybe research on why they have this custom, and then you try to stand from their viewpoint and understand and value that, okay, this particular practice is part of their culture. So yeah, I feel like this is something that I've learned in class, and I have the opportunity to really bring it to practice. So apart from that, I think I have acquired a new habit of reflecting on moments and also appreciating small things around me. There's something so incredibly satisfying about narrowing down your scope and trying to look at really small things around you. So knowing that my time in Australia is just 6 months, like the time is ticking. So it actually helped me to increase my awareness to my surroundings. So I think that this world has destination to explore, cultures to learn from, ideas waiting to be understand. And I think that it is really a privilege for me to take a role in participating in that. But then reflecting on my own experience, I have been living on campus for almost 2 years or more. I'm so used to the environment of CUHK. Like I know all the shortcuts to classrooms. I know where I can find like late night snacks when I'm doing my homework. But then now when I come back, I feel like everything's new again. So that actually makes me stopping and observe stuff around me. People I haven't seen for the past year, the past half a year, and also the buildings in CUHK, everything is new. So I feel like now I have learned to really stop and see and appreciate things around me more than like before I go. So I feel like studying abroad really opened my eyes to the world around me. This is a lesson that I didn't expect to learn within classrooms, because I have been taking classes too at the University of Queensland. I feel like it required exposing myself to a new environment and also new people, new experiences. And I'm pretty sure both Johnny and I are grateful about the experience abroad. And yeah, I hope everyone have the opportunity to participate in the Oxford program. And I hope to see you all probably at CU. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Justin and Johnny. That was Justine and Johnny, sorry. That was wonderful. So yes, the university really values students' international experience. So there are a lot of exchange opportunities, university level, the college level, and the department level. So you heard a little bit about that, but there are many, many stories, I think, that we didn't hear. So that is all. I just want to ask one more time if anyone has any questions that they want to ask right now. Yes.
Hello, I have two simple questions. So, first of all, I want to know what double major programs are there about for English? And second of all, when you were talking about the drama, I thought that there were some work with lighting. So, I'm curious if there's cuisine in the drama program.
So to answer your first question, so I'll actually answer your second question first. So they learn it themselves. In my course, drama and performance, I have wonderful TAs that help them, but it's pretty straightforward if you just have a very simple lighting program. But actually, there's a lot of drama events and clubs on campus. And so the university actually organizes at the beginning of every year, sometime during the fall semester, they organize a teaching workshop where they teach students how to do tech in theater. So yeah, there's a lot of interest in theater, in drama on campus. So now I'm forgetting your first question. Oh, double majors. We actually do have a double major in history, so that's relatively new. The direction seems to be going towards more double majors. So you're more required credits, so you have to have 9 credits. So it doesn't give you as much flexibility, and it really does, it's quite demanding. But that is a really, yeah, I think English and history make a really good pair. But yeah, and then of course we have minors. A very popular minor, of course, is education. So we have a lot of students who do English with an education minor. Okay, so if there are no further questions, I just want to thank you again for coming to this talk. And please take one or all of these publications, as well as a notepad and a USB on your way out. So this is published student writing in the department, and one of our faculty members writing.